What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski and I'm back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today, we're going to be breaking down the brand new fortnight that was announced on Global, being the Prison Break BAROQUE. So, this fortnight is pretty cool because it does introduce a brand new Mr. 2 and a brand new Mr. 3 that you can also socket those characters for. Socketing Mr. 2 is a really good thing to do, as you can use him in like Garp burst teams or just side burst teams in general. Very powerful. And also Mr. 3, another great unit to socket for as well, because if you guys don't know, the Mr. 3 that we currently have is actually pretty decent. The int unit that has the turn delay, very nice, really good slasher. But anyways guys, if you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to smack the like button down below. And also guys, make sure to click the subscribe button down below if you guys want to stay up to date with some more One Piece Treasure Cruise content. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into the video. So initially, what we like to do guys is we're going to be breaking down the new units that are being introduced into this Fortnite dungeon. So first off, we have the Prison Break Expert Mr. 2 Bon Clay. Now this is a brand new Bon Clay Mr. 2 unit, who is a 4-star unit which does evolve from a 3-star unit, and he is a Dex fighter type character with 2 socket spots. And at max level, at level 99, he has nearly 2k health, nearly 1000 attack, and, you know, over 300 recovery, which is pretty nice. And his captain effect will boost the attack of fighters by 2 times, and his special ability, which starts at 25 turns and maxes at 15 turns, will change his own orb to Dex and randomize every other orb on your team, and then boost the attack of fighter characters by 1.25 for 2 turns. So overall, I do believe that this is actually a pretty strong unit. A very good special, gives fighter type units a boost. It's also an orb manipulator, as you get your own Dex orb on Mr. 2, and then you randomize all other orbs. And there are some other fighter type characters that can actually deal with this, like if you have a Jinbei on your team as well, where you could use the Mr. 2 special first, randomize all other orbs, and if you don't get good orbs, you could just use Jinbei, and he gives himself his own orb as well, who is also a fighter type character. And you also get a boost for fighter type characters for 2 turns. So overall, I do believe this is actually a really nice unit for the fighter class teams. And yeah, I definitely, it's really hard because I really want to socket Mr. 2, but you know, this Mr. 2 is also really good for special ops as well. So yeah, so this is the brand new Mr. 2 unit. So now let's go ahead and break down the brand new Mr. 3 unit. So the brand new Mr. 3 unit is the Criminal Galdino Mr. 3. So this unit is the hidden boss within this dungeon, and he is a 3-star unit that does not evolve whatsoever, and he is a Psi Slasher. Now that's a little bit different from the previous Mr. 3 that we've had, who was an Int Slasher previously, and now this one here is a Psi Slasher, and this Mr. 3 here also has 2 socket spots as well. Now at max level, at level 70, he has just over 1000 health, you know, nearly 700 attack and 233 recovery. Pretty bad stats. And the captain effect of this Mr. 3 will reduce damage received by 10%. So overall, a pretty bad captain effect. And his special ability, which starts at 14 turns and will max at 10 turns, will recover 33 HP after the end of each turn for 999 turns. So like, that's a really cool one part of the special, where you're not only, you know, you're getting a little bit of recovery at the end of each turn, but it's like, it's forever. It's when you activate the special, it's going to be there forever. And you also get to delay enemies for 1 turn. So, you know, you have to take what you get here, because like, although like you are delaying an enemy, you are also getting that recovery, but that recovery is so low, like 33 HP. It's kind of bad. It actually is kind of bad. It is a little bit better than the Int Mr. 3. However, I think the Int Slasher Mr. 3 is a little bit stronger, a little bit more viable to use, and the Int Mr. 3 also has 1 less cooldown at max. So, you know, take what you get. You know, I personally believe the Int one is a little bit better. However, if you guys really want to go ahead, you can try and max this one out as well. This one is just as good. However, you know, the Int one does have 1 less cooldown in its special to get the turn delay off. So anyways, guys, now that we've break down the units, let's go ahead and break down the actual dungeon itself and what you should be expecting when you enter the BAROQUE Prison Break dungeon. So now we're going to break down the actual dungeon. Now we're going to go through stages that are very, very important and not the fodder stages where it has turtles, pirates, penguins, etc. We're only going to be breaking down the more important stages. Now before we go into the stages itself, we're going to go through the condition of the dungeon. Now this quest condition will make all of your units on your team lose 90% of their stats. So that's HP, recovery, and attack, except for fighter class units. So this basically means if you bring anything else other than a fighter, like, it's pretty bad. You're gonna have a bad time. So you pretty much have to bring fighters only to make sure that you can beat this dungeon very, very easily. Now, there are a bunch of teams that can make this happen, and we'll go through that later on. Once we reach towards the end of the video, we'll go through some teams. But anyways, here, between stages 1 and 6, which is the 7-stage dungeon, you will find a Bon Clay. So this Bon Clay here has around about 300,000 health, and attacks for 2,620, so it's a pretty average boss, 300,000 health you can pretty much take down in one turn, depending on your team, so he doesn't actually do anything else. He's just there, just basically as a boss with a little bit of health and a decent attack stat. So now let's going to move on to the hidden stage that is found within this dungeon. So the hidden stage within the dungeon here is the Goldino. So Goldino, Mr. 3, is also found here. I've done a lot of research into Mr. 3 in this dungeon itself, and apparently there is no record whatsoever of his health or his attack within this dungeon. So what I've heard of is that he actually is pretty low in regards to health. He doesn't have much health at all. Very, very easy to take down. However, if he does get under 20% of health, he will convert all orbs on your team to recovery orbs. So even if you do, get him under 20%, you're unable to kill him in that first turn or the second turn or whatever, you're still going to be getting some recovery orbs, so you get some recovery back on your team. And fighters have some pretty decent recovery actually, so that's actually pretty cool if you need a little bit of health back on your team when you're approaching the final boss of the dungeon. So anyways, we've broken down the more important stages. Now let's go on to the boss stage, stage 7 out of 7. So here is the boss stage here, where you have 5 fodder pirates, and you also have Bon Clay Mr. 2 there as well. Now, the Bon Clay here has around about 690,000 health, so pretty beefy boss, and he attacks for 4,240 with an attack interval of 2, so his attack power is actually pretty strong, and he will preemptively boost all attack and defense for the enemy side for 3 turns. Now, with this attack buff, he makes all of the opposing enemies basically have double attacks. So he attacks for 8,480 if he does get a chance to attack. Now, that's basically it. However, once he reaches under 20% health, he will deal 8,920 damage to you and then lock 3 random units for 3 turns. So obviously, you don't want to get him under 20%, otherwise you're probably going to lose. So you definitely want to make sure that you burst him down towards that last 20% of health. It's pretty easy to take down, 690,000 isn't really that bad. However, that defense buff is actually pretty bad. So you might have to take a hit from him once or twice in order for you to just wait for the defense buff to leave. And then once the defense buff is gone, you can go ahead and burst him down very, very simply. So now that we've broke down the simple stages of the dungeon, let's go ahead and talk about the notable skillable drops. So the first one is Red Flag X Drake. So this is the first time on Global that we've ever had X Drake books come to us. And, it's actually pretty cool. You can go ahead and max him out if you do have him. Although his special overall isn't really that useful in my opinion. Deal 10 times attack in int damage to all enemies and protects crew from defeat for 1 turn as long as HP is above 50%, which is that certain amount. So, I don't think this is really an essential special to try and max, but it is there if you do want to max him anyway. I know I'll be trying to max him anyway, even though his special, I never really use it. However, it's just nice to, have maxed. And also, Diamond Jozu books are back. Everyone knows what he does, nullifies Dex attacks for 1 turn. Very, very strong against Doflamingo raid boss, or just any Dex boss in general. It's very, very nice to take down. Moving on from that, you got Mr. 4 and also Miss Merry Christmas, who are, the mole chick and the dog cannon guy from Alubana. So, if you don't know what they do, Miss Merry Christmas will empty neighboring slots and slightly increase slot effects for 1 turn, and when it says slightly increased slot effects, I'm pretty sure that's 1.25 times boost for orbs for 1 turn. So, it's weird because it empties the slots and then it gives you the boost, so You might want to have a team that can utilize having empty slots and change empty slots into a certain color, which there are units that can do that. So that's going to be good. And Mr. 4, who deals 15 times strength damage to all enemies and has a 50% chance of changing empty slots to strength. So overall, like, this Fortnite, in my opinion, has pretty bad skill books. There's no one really here that is, like, 100% essential to max out. Because you have Jozu, who has a really great special. However, his special, like, doesn't even need to be maxed out to be useful. That's the thing. It is nice to have that max special. However, you know, when you're versing raid bosses like Doflamingo, you don't really need to have him max. You can stall for him just to have that one time to use it. So anyways, guys, now that we've broken down the notable skill books that you can find in this dungeon, let's go ahead and finally break down the powerful teams that you can use to take down this dungeon. So the first team I want to talk about is a free-to-play team. Now, this one utilizes either Kobe, not the cabin boy Kobe, but the Sergeant Kobe, or a Chef Zeph as a captain. Now, either one of these guys works fine. It is a little bit better, obviously, if you have Zeph, because Zeph gives you a 2.5 times boost to all fighters as a captain, which is very, very strong. And Kobe only gives you a 2 times. So, you know, some people might not have Zeph, so Kobe, you know, I know a lot of people have Kobe, so if you have Kobe, he's perfect for this. Just any 2 times captain for fighters. I'm pretty sure Miss Valentine does it as well. There's a whole bunch of units that give 2 times to fighters, so if you guys have one of those guys, they could be a great captain. And then all you need to do is just have a friend captain of maybe Jinbei or another Zeph or something like that, just to give you a lot of boost to your fighters. Now, the team that you can run as sub-units, you can have, you know, Monster Chopper and Gear 2 Luffy. These two are very, very strong strength fighters. Now, the reason why we're using these guys in particular is because, obviously, Bon Clay is a Dex unit, so you want to have some strength fighters to take down Bon Clay reasonably easily. Now, I've also got a question mark, which I'll go over in a second, and then we've got Hogback. Now, Hogback is very, very strong. And he actually gives a boost to fighters, a 1.25 times boost to fighters with his special. So overall, this gives you a little bit of a burst. Now, with that hidden unit, it depends on what you have. You can really run any unit in that position. However, if you have Kobe and Zeph, if you have both of those units, I would run Zeph as the captain and then have Kobe in that question mark spot, because Kobe can boost your orb effectiveness, you can use Hogback to give your fighters a boost, and you can have just overall a very, very nice burst team to take down Bon Clay. That would be very, very nice. However, there are some other fighters that you could use. You could perhaps use another strength fighter if you really wanted to. There's just a whole bunch of units. Just have a look in your character box. Any fighter would suffice in this team right here. So overall, this is a very, very nice free-to-play team. 100% works fine. But now we'll move on to some more powerful teams to take on this dungeon as well. That utilizes Jinbeis and other units, as you can see here, where we use either Jinbei or Namul as the captain, and then we have Jinbei or Namul as the friend captain. Now, the reason behind this is that Jinbei will give you 2.5 times boost to your fighters, where Namul will give you a 2 times boost to fighters in attack, and then a 1.5 times boost to HP. So it's almost like the same predicament where you have a Law and Ashurasaurus kind of thing, where you could either choose to have like more HP and be more tanky, or you could have just the 2 Laws and then be very, very powerful. It's the same sort of position here where you have Jinbei and Namul. Now, in my opinion, if you have both of these units, both Jinbei and Namul, you're pretty much set, because you can have either Jinbei or Namul as the captain, and then have the other corresponding unit in your team as a sub-unit, and then you can just have a Namul or a Jinbei as a friend captain. And then the other units that we're bringing, obviously Kobe, he's absolutely phenomenal. You know, giving 1.5 times boost to orbs is just amazing. And then you've got Gear 3. I've just got Gear 3 there just as like a filler unit. You can pretty much use any strength fighter that you want. Gear 3 is just a very, very powerful strength fighter. And then you have also Monster Chopper, who is one of the strongest units in the game in attack stat-wise. So definitely he's a very, very good unit to run in a team against a Dex boss. So very, very nice to bring Monster Chopper in a team like this. Now, if you guys were lucky enough to pull any 6-star units in previous Sugo Fest, you could potentially run any of these guys. Now, I actually forgot to add one here, which was Boa Hancock. She is also a fighter that you can use in this dungeon as well. So, Rayleigh, Sengoku, Log Luffy, and Marco and Boa. These guys are all fighters, so you could utilize a team where you can cater to their captain effects and basically run through this dungeon super quickly. So definitely Rayleigh and Sengoku, very strong, versatile teams. However, when you're using Log Luffy, it is a little bit slower. 100% can complete the dungeon super easily, but it is a little bit slower than Rayleigh and Sengoku. And then Mako and Boa, obviously, you have to use a team that has either Sai or quick units. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to be getting a suffice attack boost. So any of these guys would be great. I didn't actually come up with teams for them because there's literally like so many units that you could run in it that'd just be full of question marks, because it really depends on what you have in your character box. There's so many different teams that you can run. Just any strong fighters with these guys as captains would work 100%. So that is going to conclude yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to smack the like button down below. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, then make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.